This is an interview with Dr. Joel Boykin for the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute's Oral History Project. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley. Today we are at the Civil Rights Institute. Today's date is, what is the date?
22nd?
March 22nd.
Yeah.
2001. I want to thank you, Dr. Boykin, for taking time out of your busy schedule, and welcome to the Institute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's
Yes,
a pleasure to be here.
Let me just start by asking you, John, were you born in Birmingham?
I was born right here in Birmingham.
Where you at?
And yes, indeed, on 8th Avenue, where the project exists now.
Okay.
Project, and I was between, say, they call that Joseph Street, which is actually 3rd Street.
Okay.
And between 3rd and 2nd Street across from Palmer's.
Oh, okay.
That was a Palmer barbecue place.
Palmer
Everybody
barbecue.
in town
and
knew
the
about
theater.
it. That is correct. Well, the theater wasn't there.
Wasn't there at that time.
No,
Yeah.
but there, and there was Industrial High School at that time.
Right.
And the high school house where I was born in, they used to have a garden there. Part of the training of the students there, they kept the garden. The garden was in our backyard.
Is that right?
And one of the superintendents, Dr. Goodson, was a student at that time, and he said he used to come down, and I'd be out there in the backyard, my little overalls and whatnot, but they did a garden there, and it was a community garden, a school garden.
Okay. What did you grow?
Everything, all vegetables, greens,
Is that right?
tomatoes, things of that nature.
Community garden.
Like that, in our back. That was the part of the high school project.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Were your parents from Birmingham?
My father went to school here in Birmingham, in grade school. He came up here from Livingston, Alabama. He and a twin sister, and they lived in Birmingham. He attended Slater School.
So you have deep roots here.
Yes, and he was in the second graduating class that is now Parker. It was something else then. This was
Industrial?
I believe maybe the beginning of industrial.
Right.
There were two teachers there, Miss Kennedy and Mr. Parker. That was it.
Oh, yeah, by the way, remind me, Mrs. Hendricks left this for you.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Forget that. How many brothers and sisters?
I have one sister.
One sister.
She's
older?
4 years younger.
4 years younger than you.
You're right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And what kind of education did your parents have?
My father was a dentist. He went on to become a dentist, and he graduated in 1911 from Meharry.
From Meharry.
But when he initially went there, it was Walden University.
Oh,
And then Meharry.
All right.
So he was in 1911, got his license in 1912.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, so you followed in his footsteps.
Yeah. Certainly so.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
What about your mother?
She was a graduate of Russ College in Mississippi, Holly Springs, Mississippi, right near the Tennessee border, about 20 miles from Memphis.
Right.
Yeah, there were two colleges there.
Right.
Rust and MI. My grandfather moved there from New Albany, Mississippi, because he had 4 girls, and to give them an education. So we were on the main drag, so I knew everybody had to pass by the house going to the school. All the teachers and stuff, and everybody was walking or riding some mules or something at that time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
She finished in 24.
in 24.
And also attended Alabama State too.
Oh, okay.
After
So did she
teaching here.
teach?
She taught here.
At,
She retired from the county school system.
oh, okay. What school did she teach?
Woodward was the last
Okay. Yeah.
out there with N.G.H. King. He was
Down toward
that was the
Bessemer.
last school. That's right. That's right.
Lipscomb, yeah.
So she retired from there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, where did you start first grade?
I started first grade at Tuggle, Enon Ridge at that time. It was called Enon Ridge School.
Okay. In Ridge School.
Enon Ridge. And then it only went to the 6th grade at that time. But while there, they added 2 more grades, 8th grade.
Yeah. Now, I've heard a lot about Tuggle School. What do you remember about Tuggle in those?
Tuggle School was founded by Carrie A. Tuggle, black woman, just similar to Miss Bethune.
That's right.
So she had that thing going, and they had dormitory life. When I first went to Enon Ridge, there were still students there, and the band would play.
You mean they had dormitories?
Dormitories. That's right. Owning at Tuggle Institute.
So you mean students would come in from outside of town?
That's correct. And they lived there. Whether they were local or what, I'm not sure. But they lived there.
Right there.
That's right. Had a football team. So when I was, say, maybe about 5, we lived in the Tuggle home shortly after she passed. Certainly so. During the Depression hit. So my parents had to, and we moved around quite a bit. He lost his house there on 8th Avenue. And so it did quite a bit of moving. And one of the moves was in the Tuggle home on Enon Ridge. I guess I must have been about 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah. So those Depression days not only affect those at the bottom rungs, it affected professionals as well.
Everybody. People couldn't pay. So Daddy finally, he was in the Masonic Temple for years, but he couldn't hold on there that much longer and went on down to Eufaula, Alabama, and he would commute during that period.
So he actually moved to practice in Eufaula.
That's correct.
Commuted.
That's correct.
So when you left Tuggle School, where did you go?
Parker.
Went to Parker.
Parker High School. That time we were living on 12th Avenue, and we'd walk to Parker every morning.
What was Parker like?
Parker was fantastic. It was really all
What made it? I mean,
beautiful teachers.
Yeah.
The teachers, people had a lot more interest in you then. Well, and coming from being Dr. Boykin's son, I guess sometimes they expected more from you. And I could read and write, and most of my students, most of the kids at that time, half of the class couldn't read and write. Even then, it was had this system. You had to pass this child right on, regardless of whether, to make room for someone else, because we don't have funds to take care of that kind of thing. That was what I later found out after I taught myself for a while, a couple of years.
Right.
But fortunately, they wouldn't give us any permanent jobs here. I hated it that time because I knew all the people who were in charge. Superintendent was county superintendent, Dr. Hayes, and I've forgotten, what was the name,
E. Paul Jones?
I think, I believe he was the county man.
Right, that's right.
He lived on the same street that I lived on for a while. And they wouldn't hire us, but in my game, Dr. Harris, another fellow, Benny Harris, Desiree Harris's nephew, he was who became a
did you live on Fountain Heights?
Yes.
You were living on Fountain Heights at the time?
Yes, at that time, when certainly so. That time I had, by that time, I'd gone into service and out. I'd been at Morehouse a couple of years and was drafted out of there.
Yeah.
And
well, tell me, why did you decide to go to Morehouse?
All of my buddies went over there, practically. I really thought more of going to Tuskegee. That was a big school then. That sounded great to me, you know, the name sounded good.
Right.
I didn't know one thing from one school from another, but you usually followed your gang.
Right.
If your boys went over there, and which was, luckily, I made the right decision. Went over there.
So you went to Morehouse, and then you actually drafted out of Morehouse?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And how long did you spend in service?
Oh, about 18 months, 18, 19 months.
Where did
Went in 45 and up to Fort Benning, Camp Lee, down in Florida, out to California, and over in the Pacific, Saipan, Guam and Saipan.
Was the war about over by the time?
Just about over, yeah. By the time I got over there, they dropped the bomb. They dropped Nagasaki.
Yeah.
So there was nothing there but prisoners at that time, and some was still in there, up in the mountains, whatnot. But
what was that transition like from college to the military?
But it was awful. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to shoot at anyone, and I didn't want anybody shooting at me.
I understand.
So that was I didn't go. I really didn't want to go. Did everything I could to avoid it until finally one of the ladies over at the, I've forgotten what these places, wherever you were, recruiting station, she said, now if you move again, we're going to put you in jail. So it was a matter of jail or going into the service. So I said, okay.
You took the lesson that you gave us. Yeah. So you spent those 18 months, and then what did you do after?
Well, I got out in, November of 46, and I went back to school in January of 47. Went to summer school, and I finished in 48. And came out on time. The man upstairs was in my corner.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the most difficult situation I believe I've ever encountered, and it was all on account of me. I didn't want to read. I wanted to be out there in the streets doing this and doing that.
Yeah.
Consequently, I got behind, and it was rough getting out. You get behind over there.
Dug a hole.
Yeah, that's right. But fortunately, I didn't know there were so many wonderful students over there. All those guys had some excellent minds. Oh, you were surrounded by them. And if you, it was almost impossible not to get out because everybody had such good minds.
Yeah.
Martin was in that class.
Yeah, you were in the class with Martin Luther King?
Yeah, he finished with me, but I started prior to, before him.
Did you know him?
I knew him. I met him when he was a freshman because he came in the restaurant with one of the prettiest girls I'd ever seen. At that little restaurant, Yates and Milton, where everybody hung out. But he and one of my classmates who lived in the city, name was Cater, he brought them all to school in his car. And that's how I met Martin. I went up and move over. Who is this talking? And, but I never, other than that, shoot, I was a sophomore. He was a freshman. You don't know all the freshmen, big time. Yeah. By the time I came back, he was a senior. And I was a junior or something, but I was tied up in getting with my thing. So, but I guess they knew us better than we knew them. You know all the upperclassmen.
That's right.
So I didn't really see him again until I was up in my hair, and this was after the bus sit-in. He was on the speaking engagements and whatnot. But as soon as I walked down to greet me, hey Joe, So, and I would see him from time to time when he would come, all the time when he come. But knowing that they were so busy, I never bothered anything until on the last day of the everything was breaking loose. I happened to run into him down at the motel. Right.
Well, before we get there, though, what when you left Morehouse, did you come back to Birmingham?
When I left Morehouse, yes. I came back to Birmingham. That was the summer of 48.
Right. And what did you do?
At summer 48, I was told that, Joel, if you want to get a job, you got to go back to school. I said, wait a minute, I'm already educated, What are you talking about? I got a BS degree from Morehouse. You tell me I got to go back to school? Yeah. And we did, a bunch of us, Dr. Montgomery, Dr. Harris, all of us had to go out to Miles that summer to take some education.
To teach?
In order to teach. So that's what happened there.
Okay, so you went out to Miles that summer.
That summer.
And then you started teaching that fall?
That fall.
Where was your first job?
Oh, supply teaching. I don't know, maybe down to Parker, Lincoln, wherever they would call.
Yeah. How did you like that? The teaching?
I liked that. I needed the money. I needed a job. Give me any kind of job.
Right.
So as far as having been carried away with it, not really, until I got a regular job. Bob Johnson, who was a principal down at Parker, at Park at that time, he got me a job in Bullock County, St. Clair County.
Oh,
And I was there for about 3 or 4 months. You know, from 40, so that must have been 49.
okay.
The spring session of 49.
So how long did you teach?
I stayed there until that spring session and couldn't get a job again until a regular job teaching until, say, 50. The beginning of 1950, and that was down in Bullock County. And I stayed there for a semester. And things happened then, and I said, no, this won't do. So it was at that time I decided I was going to be the boss. I'm going back and get a PhD, some kind of D, to give me a little bit more control
over your life, yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up going, I took after following that, I got into Morehouse, got a master's degree in science over at Atlanta University. But I was determined that wasn't, I was through with the school system.
Yeah.
Because it was too many little, innuendos of all kind that it's going to be this way or no way. And I didn't see that as being the right way. Even in Bullock County down there, I was called in. They bombed my father's house in that particular year, 1950, April of 50.
Here?
Yeah. In Fountain Heights, right up there, when he was building there. Yeah. And I wrote him a letter. The newspaper people were asking, well, we going to rebuild it since we possibly were having a hard time getting insurance. So I wrote a letter and said, yeah, if I can fight over there in Saipan, go on, yeah, we can do it right here too. And they put it on the front page of the paper, the Post-Herald at that time. And the superintendent sent for me, took me out of class. Can you imagine that? Sent the gene supervisor, who was a black lady, Tessie Oliver down from Montgomery, sent her out to pick me up, take me out of the schoolroom and bring me way downtown to the city, to his office, to answer to this letter. This letter that's on the front page of the, and I didn't know why she said letter initially, and it struck me. I said, now who's been reading my mail, I didn't know it. And then she gave through the paper in my lap, and then I read it. I said, well, I'll be doggone. You mean to tell me this man is bringing me downtown? It was then and there, I said, shoot, I'm prepared to say bye-bye. Yeah. But I told him, he said, Boykin, I know you didn't mean what you said about this or that, I said, but no, I said, Mr. Lawrence, I've enjoyed this. I really enjoyed working with you and this school. So I think you're doing an excellent job. I said, but in regards to that letter, I meant everything I said. And I'm sure you'd feel the same way if someone were trying to do something to your home. He said, well, the people downtown were asking about this and that, and just want you to be careful. And that was the end of that. In fact, they sent the next, before the year was that summer, they asked me to come back and be principal of the school.
Is that right?
They said it did. So I said, well.
So you were actually prepared to say, yes, it's yours if it created a problem for you.
That's right. Bye. I won't be here. No.
But that didn't happen.
That didn't happen like that. But I didn't go back anyway. I went on to school. I said, no, this is too much of a hassle. Yeah. Now, to be involved.
Did you go into dentistry because of your father?
Yeah, I was going into medicine. Yeah, I was going into dental school, med school. I didn't make any difference which one.
And I'm sure he encouraged you to do it.
Yeah. Well, naturally, I wasn't going to stop. He didn't have to do much encouraging for me. I couldn't stand those jobs that I'd had. Right. Grocery boy, waiting tables and all that, and working at the Railway Express, all that kind of, all little odd jobs,
So you spent the 4 years at Meharry.
Yes.
And then
I interned a year. Stayed up there a little longer, another year to intern, because I knew I was coming back in. There were some things I'd want to do, and I didn't want to necessarily send everything to somebody else.
Right.
When I can stay here another year and get a little bit more into it, especially the surgery. Yeah.
So did you join your father when you came?
No, I went directly to my private practice.
Is that right? Direct to private practice? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How many black dentists were there in town when you got back?
At that time, I can almost name them. Dr. Elliott, Dr. Taggart, Dr. Belcher, Dr.
Jefferson?
Jefferson, Dr. Howard, Nixon, Claiborne, Shakespeare, and Thompson. I was Dr. Dowdell and Dr. Davis out in Bessemer. That was about it.
Yeah. That was in what, 54, 55?
That was in 57.
57. Oh, okay.
57. That's when I came back.
Came back.
Yeah.
So, unlike the legal profession, in the medical profession, there were several black professionals.
The legal profession, there were so few that whenever we'd have our affairs, we invited them to participate with us, because there were a few more physicians, but so many affairs we combined and do it together.
Right.
Yeah. On several occasions, we said, well, there's so few of us. That time, you knew every dentist in the state and practically every physician in the state. In the state of Alabama, Tennessee, too. That few. That's right. Wow. That's true, because we've had regional meetings with Tennessee.
Right.
And so.
Yeah. Well, you got back here in 1957. That is in the heat of things.
Oh, man, yeah.
What's happening when you get back? I know that.
I got back. Let's see.
That was a time when Shuttlesworth took his children to Phillips High School.
Yeah, he got back. Yeah, and oh man, it was active, and nobody wanted to be necessarily involved with Fred. Because Fred had his own ideas about how this thing should be done, and Fred proved to be right. See, a lot of people say my dad is age, and that group, AG, even Emory O. And Emory O was as bad as anybody that I've ever seen when it came to confronting segregation. He'd talk about it like it was, to the point he'd almost like made Bull Connor blow his top for some of the responses that Bull would come out with.
Right.
But EO was a master.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But Fred to be associated with Fred was almost like death itself. Well, I didn't have any problem with Fred, because I had an attitude anyway. My house has been burned, so I'm ready, whatever. But I think you have to be really called into that kind of thing, to be that dedicated to look death square in the face. Like, that's what he was doing every time. Look at that. But he'd been called up there. The man upstairs knew that he was, this is your job, Fred.
Right.
This is it. And he didn't shirk away from it in any way. But you have to be called for something like that.
Right.
To go ahead and to fight somebody with no weapon. And that was not my calling, you see, because I would have been out there shooting or whatever, to defend me.
Yeah.
But they didn't. No defense, turn the other cheek. That kind of, oh man, he and Billups and some of those other. And I would tell him, I said, man, Earl Grey is hell. I said, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
And
did you ever attend any of the meetings?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
How would you describe a mass meeting? What was a mass meeting like?
Oh, well, there were naturally your services and whatnot, and then everybody, we already complaining about buses and this, we're spending our money and we don't get this and that. And, but I would say they brought those things together. That was constantly in front, but how are we going to move out for money where we are? These are our rights. Wow, we're human.
Right.
We're going to do this and we're going to do that and it's going to take this and shoot. Mass meeting started at a time when everybody was just about tired and I guess ready to die.
Ready to do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. And there were a lot of people that it kept bringing, the crowds began to increase. But there are a lot of people who said, no, there's no point. It's like, say, people over at the church there. No, said, listen, we're fighting this thing the wrong way. Well, so and so, but there was no other way. We tried every time you said, and they put it off. They would go back to revert back to the same kind of tactics.
Right.
Same old schemes.
So even people at 16th Street were in opposition to
to Fred. Oh yeah, most time I'd go down there and I would see not a church member there other than me.
You were a member of 16th Street?
Yeah.
Deacon, right?
Yeah, now. Not then.
Not then, okay.
No.
Yeah. Did you ever participate in the demonstrations?
Demonstrations? Yeah. Yeah, demonstrations, and to the point that not out and marching, going this, because I talked with Wyatt Walker, happened to run into him in Gaston's one morning on the height of it. I said, Wyatt, what can we do? I said, I'm ready to go to jail, and there are several others. He said, no, you wouldn't help us like that. So I tell you what you do. Say, we need you all to stay back here to take care of us in case we get hit in the head and shot up or whatever. And get us out of jail. He said, well, I tell you what. He said, can you get them together? I said, because the newspaper here is Birmingham News trying to show that we are not in accord with Fred. We support Shores and
talking about the professionals.
Yeah, we support Shores and Gaston or something like that, but and which was not true. Which was not true.
So in other words, they were attempting to divide.
The news. The media was terrible.
But that was not.
That was not true. He said, Joe, this is around 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. He says, well, I'll tell you what you do. Say, if you can get them together, because we need to get. I said, okay, come out to my office this evening. It's 3 o'clock. And surprisingly, I got on the phone and got every physician and dentist showed up at my office, with the exception of about 2 that day, and came together. And he talked, and we put up property bonds, and we made Wyatt drew up a declaration of support and concern, which is published in the paper. I took it down to the Birmingham News, and they thought that they were going to be able to say, and edit it and do what they transfer. I said, no, we want this just like it is. And it cost me about $500, I guess. A big half page. We wrote that up, but and put up bonds, money.
So this is to get people out of jail.
Out of jail, that's right. Property bonds.
Did anybody lose their property as a result of
no
bonds?
No. No.
See, that was always
nope.
Would be a concern.
Nope, because someone else came up with some more money and maybe did. Oh no. As always, that always is a concern. Right. But you can see, if we would do that, it's time to die.
That's right. That's right.
So that was the professional support. We had it.
Right.
So, we had it.
So
whether it was evident to others or not, there were a whole lots of them. We would ride around in the car with shotguns and all that kind of.
Yeah, that's another question. People ask about the nonviolence of the movement. But I've talked with people, and there were always those that stood guard at the various homes and churches.
That's right.
And were armed.
That's right.
Did you have any knowledge of that?
Yeah. Certainly. You better believe it. I'm sitting on my own porch with a shotgun. And we were riding around in the car with shotguns. Well, knowledge of it, and things happen that a lot of us don't know about. There were some unreported things when these people began to attack, and they were met with force. And
there were times when that.
Yes, at least I know of on at least one occasion upon that Center Street, for that matter. And I don't know
that were coming into the community.
Right.
And
there were people who coming into the Klan coming into the community, go and do this, do that. And I'm not sure that all of them got out. On occasion, you never mentioned that. You never heard that. You never will.
But that
it's true.
Took place.
And
see, that's important information because
that's right. So everybody wasn't afraid
right.
and all that kind of thing. No.
Yeah. So you actually know firsthand that took place.
Yes, sir.
On Dynamite Hill.
Yes.
In effect.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, that kind of information is so important because we are only getting half of the story, part of that story.
Yeah.
In order to tell the whole story, so we have to have those stories like you and other folk like yourself who were there, who were there on the scene and knowledgeable. Are there any other things that took place during the time that you'd like to share with us before we conclude?
I don't know. I'm just.
Now you were married, you had a family.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay, during that period, my first wife, she could give you a lot of information, but you'd have to go by and see her. She's under the weather now. She was the director of the OEO here. It just started, Office of Economic Opportunity.
Right.
And she had a degree in social work, community, which was community organization. So she could help these people set up and do things that they didn't know how to do.
So she was an organizer.
Oh, yes, very much so. Very much so. And to the point.
So did she help during that 63 period?
Yes, sir, she did. She set up that whole office. She was the second person in charge. That time, I think a lot of little jealousies and whatnot, but she was making a big salary at that time, maybe about $19,000 or $20,000 a year, which was big money compared to what the average maybe teacher or even the principals. I don't know, but she, John Carr was the first director, and she was second. And about a year later, he moved on to something else, but she ran it for a long time. Rogers used to work for her. John Rogers, and quite a few, but she set it up. She was the wheel with that kind of thing, because fellas out of Atlanta and Washington, everybody would come and ask her, because I think she really had a lot in drawing up the program. So you really need to check with her.
As Martin Luther King came in and out of town, you say you would see him periodically. Did you ever have any intimate relations with him as a result of your being, one of the leaders in the professional area? Oh,
last time I actually talked with Martin was right there in the lot. He was by himself, and I was getting ready to go upstairs. And I just happened
at the hotel?
Yeah. I said, man, Martin, what's happening now, buddy? I said, good gracious. I said, it's going on. He said, yeah, Joel, you're right. He says, right now, I got to follow the people. I'm not the leader anymore. I'm the follower.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
I am following. I said, you got that right. All these kids up here, you need parking school. So, and I don't know whether I talked with him again since then, but he was busy. And I know what he's doing. He knows what I'm doing. We came from the same school. I heard Buck Bennett talks every time I hear Martin. I thought I was listening to Dr. Mays. Because he was repeating the same thing.
Exactly.
Buck could talk his Gandhi philosophy and all this kind of thing. Buck has done all of that, and it preached all these wonderful sermons that we had to listen to. So we were all the same. Huh?
What'd you call him? Buck?
Buck Benny.
Buck Benny.
Yeah, Buck Benny. Benjamin, he made everybody, we call him Buck Benny.
Okay, that's what the students call him. Buck Benny. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've been very helpful. I certainly appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come and sit and talk with me.
Okay.
And you clarified some things for me today.
Okay.
It's very
If I can
important.
be of any assistance, a lot of things I probably forgot.
Oh, well, all of us
And,
do it, and we
yeah.
always, there may be some time when we can get together and sit down and
Right.
again.
Yeah, I'd like you to come by the house sometime.
Okay, I love to. Love to.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So we could
yeah,
give you
just-
some more.
Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate it very much.
Okay.